Hello and welcome to our Retire Early lifestyle. We have a whopper for you today. Do you guys and gals know what the Global Retirement Index is? In a nutshell, it's the list of 10 supposed best-rated countries to retire to in the world. The Global Retirement Index was started years ago by the Retire Abroad media, and each year they list different country rankings from 1 to 10 in their list. Here's the list for 2026. In this video, we're going to show you how the Rams actually rank and position the countries they list in the Global Index. We're going to show you the 5 specific categories they use to establish if a country is worthy or not to be in the index. Are they worthy countries, or have we all been duped? Buckle up and put on your headgear because we're going to show you a perspective you've never heard or seen before. And because we don't expect new people to just believe what we say, since we can't possibly know anything after living, retiring, and traveling abroad for 13 years, living in multiple countries, down in the trenches learning different languages, living on a local level, we're going to include verifiable facts in this discussion. Things everyone can verify on their own anytime they want. So let's begin with the first category they use to rank a country's worthiness: economic stability. Now, this category would be a country's income levels, employment rates, and economic strengths of the country. One of the main ways the Retire Abroad media sways people to move to and retire to these foreign countries is by promoting countries with way smaller GDP per capita incomes than North America. For instance, in this year's top 10 global list, France is the country that has the highest income level out of all 10 countries, and yet it only has 52% of the USA's income level. That's a large income disparity, right? Keep that in your head as we continue along with this conversation. Here are the 9 remaining countries that are on the Global Index this year and their income levels. Now, this is Greece, Panama, Italy, Thailand, Malaysia, Spain, Mexico, Portugal, and Costa Rica, and they're all compared against that of the USA as far as income levels go. Go ahead and take a look at those. Now, I'm showing this so you will understand how the Rams and vloggers exploit the much lower income levels of foreign nations to entice North Americans to move and retire to these places. And herein lies the problem. Imagine large groups of Americans moving to a country like Costa Rica, Panama, Thailand, or Malaysia, or any of the top 10 retirement locations on the list for that matter, and you're literally surrounded by poor people and people who earn a very meager wage who are barely surviving. Now, some of them may live in shacks with holes in the roof. They can't find a decent job, and they're barely able to put food on the table for their family. And then, within a 3-year time frame, let's just say 3 to 5 years, during that time, a bunch of rich folks come along, according to the locals' perspective. I mean, we're all rich if we're coming from North America or other high-income Western countries. So we all come along living in secluded foreigner enclaves and gated communities. We come out to go shopping, walking around in the poor folks' mercados with their expensive cameras and phones and bragging about how cheap everything is. You don't think bad apples are going to follow you to see where you live? You don't think there are bad apples in the mercados or on the streets of these top Ram countries? What do you think's going to happen? Crime is up exponentially in Costa Rica, Thailand, Panama, Mexico, Portugal, Spain, Italy, and France, and much of it is against the foreigners. Instead of rents and housing going up naturally like they're supposed to do when you have a stable economy and citizens that have jobs, these places spike up in a matter of just a few years.
You look at Panama, you look at Mexico, you look at Costa Rica, now the DR. Every single one of these places have gone through this cycle that we call Gringo Vicious Cycle. Here in Panama, the Gringo Vicious Cycle that we've discussed previously, when it comes into full swing, the crime rates spike. The prices spike and the crime rates spike. And when the crime rates spike, the gringos flee. When the gringos flee, the prices pop.
This is not economic stability for most people that earn a wage in these countries. Or maybe they don't even earn a wage. Maybe they just sell some fruit out of their wagon on the street. Sure, there are some jobs generated from tourism, but it's minuscule when you compare that to the population of the people. Tourism builds the government's coffers, and a few citizens gain from it, but not as much as you would think. So the Rams sending in high-level income people to lower-income countries doesn't work, and it never will. It has never made any sense to us, not from the very beginning of this retire abroad idea that got its start around 25 years ago.
This idea that everybody's going to pile into this one spot, that there's a bunch of poor folks in, and you're going to go live like Mr. Rich Guy in the middle of a bunch of poor folks, never made any sense to us from the beginning.
There's a lot of hubbub about middle classes and all that, but what you don't realize is that that's not the foundation and the base of the country. You know, it's not middle class like in the States where it's a sizable middle class. It's a misleading statement when you hear that there's rising middle classes. These are designed to make you feel better about your living standards when you go to poor countries. The reality is that percentage-wise, you may have a middle class in these countries, but it's much smaller percentage of the population than what we're used to in the States.
To pit opposite ends of the disparity scale together is like mixing oil and water. But who cares, right? It's all about what the insiders are gaining from it all. Have you ever wondered why the Rams don't put Switzerland or Luxembourg, Germany, or the Netherlands in their retirement global index? Think about that, and then leave a comment and tell us what you think. We're debunking the stable economy category for most of the countries they chose for everything we have shown you thus far in this video information. Moving on to the next category, the Retirement Global Index looks at to figure out what countries they're going to put in their list. Number 2, health factors. Now, this would be things such as healthcare access and quality of care. Well, we debunked this one in our last video about how the healthcare systems worldwide are collapsing before our very eyes. Since we just talked about this one in the previous video, if you want the details, you need to watch this video. Let's go to the third category that the Retire Abroad media goes by for the worthiness of a country to be listed in the global top 10 retirement list, and that is quality of life. That's number 3. What would quality of life entail for you? For us, quality of life would be first and foremost how safe and secure we are living and retiring in a country. It's not how safe and secure we feel, but how safe and secure we actually are. Secondly, it would be adapting to our environment and feeling overall lifestyle enjoyment in the country. Oh my. So the Retire Abroad media peddlers and their Pied Pipers are sending retired 60 and 70-year-olds, in most cases, to countries with increasing crime rates, some of it violent, against the foreigner. Now let that sink in for a moment. Hello? What are we missing here? Every single country on the top 10 global retirement list has increasing crime rates, and foreigners are the targets. They always were, and they always will be.
After foreigners been going to a place for 10, 15 years, doing things the way they do them, living opulently and such, and kind of in your face to the locals like that. It seems to be just a cause and effect where eventually the crime rates just go up.
Only 6 years ago, Italy was a relatively peaceful nation with very minimal amounts of crime, but now it's out of control. France was also relatively safe. We all know why crime is increasing in Europe. This is unfortunate, but it is what it is, folks. The crime in Italy is against the perceived rich people. On the rise is Rome, with an increase in reports of 16.7% compared to 2019, with thefts and predatory crimes leading the way. But also, Florence returns to the top of the crime rankings, driven by an increase in street robberies, which grew by 56% compared to 2022. The phenomenon seems linked to tourist flows. Street robberies in lovely Florence up 56%? That's out of control crime levels never seen before in Italy. But what have we been telling you all along on this channel? Crime follows the tourism. Every country on the top 10 global retirement best places list has growing crime, and it's becoming more and more violent against the foreigner. This is a song we've been singing for 13 years. We showed you crime rates of France compared to the US a couple videos back, but let's refresh our memory. The crimes I underlined are the ones a tourist or foreign resident should be concerned about the most. And here it is, United States compared with France. Way to go, Rams! Keep listing these overrated, overpriced, overcrowded, and over-migrated countries to naive tourists. Now, I don't mean anything bad about calling tourists naive, but they are, because they're sent to these countries or enticed to go to these countries, and they don't know that there's just overwhelmingly amount of crime. For instance, let me just show you some of the crimes against tourists in Italy. This way, it will no longer be out of sight, out of mind. Okay? And by the way, crimes against tourists and expats goes on and on and on in Italy. Italy, American tourist stabbed in Florence. American student mugged in Florence. An American tourist injured in violent robbery attempt in central Florence. Well, they said Florence's street crime is up by 57%. Well, we can sure see that. San Francisco teacher robbed and beaten while on vacation in Italy. American stabbed in the neck by migrants while vacationing in Italy. American tourist stabbed and robbed of their gold chain on a Milan train. Suffers neck and shoulder injuries. Now, does this all sound like safety and security to you? And that's just some of the crime we just gave you. That's an appetizer we just gave you, okay? Just go do some Google searching. You'll find it all. Get this, Italy is safer than Costa Rica. Just thought I'd throw that in so you can understand a perspective about crime abroad against tourists. Okay? So we're totally debunking the category quality of life, safety, and security gag. And that is, according to the countries, the peddlers keep peddling on their list year after year after year. Moving on to the next category on the list, number 4, financial security. This entails adequacy of pensions and income security of the expat, according to the country you retire in. You do know what foreigner inflation is, right? Well, that's what you're dealing with when you retire abroad. It's a real problem in these countries. And as anyone that has lived abroad long enough to figure this out will tell you, you can't just walk into a foreign country and think your retirement is going to cover you comfortably financially just because the Rams tout these countries as cheaper, do ya? This is precisely why they have visas to fit different financial levels now. It didn't used to be that way. Does it fit your pension or social security or investment level? That's your responsibility to figure out, but we'll tell you right now, right up front. We're hearing from many people that they're shut out of Mexico, Spain, Canada, and more because of financial requirements. And I'll tell you another thing that many of these very touristy and overcrowded countries are doing now. They want you to show on paper a financial level of 3 to 4 times more than the income levels of the local citizen on the street. Why? Because they know that you are a target for more money and you're going to need 3 to 4 times more money than the locals. You get it? They're just watching their backs. They have enough impoverished people in their country already, and they don't want more. So the thinking goes anyway. I mean, that's what you would think, right? But really, it's just greed. Last category, we're not going to spend much time on this one. Number 5, political stability of a country and the corruption levels. Now, right now, we can safely say that there is no country on the global retirement list without some amount of corruption, and that there is some amount of political conflict going on in every single country also that's on the global retirement index. Some of these countries change their political climate in a twinkle of an eye, and hopefully, as a retiree, somewhere where you move and the country happens to kind of be stable, that it won't turn into a chaotic conflict with civil and social unrest like so many countries have done today and are in the midst of doing right now. But as someone said on one of our blogs many years ago, these countries are volatile, meaning things change frequently, and they change very quickly, frequently overnight. Are they worthy countries, or have we all been duped? Stay healthy, happy, and safe in 2026. Until next video, take care and bye-bye.